We did it! We are on math lesson 3. Let's put some check marks, put some smiley faces, change it up with some color. How amazing are you guys? You've made it till math lesson 3, which means we've passed math lesson 1. Let's recap, shall we? In lesson 1.1, we were identifying number patterns, and there we were introduced to a table of values, and we were able to see if there were any patterns going from one row to the next row. And we would see if, let's make a really quick table of values here, and just like that. And we would see from if there were any patterns from one row to the next, and we would see how they related from one column to the other column. After that, we went to 1.2 and we described relationships in tables, and we took a look at the table specifically and saw how the different values would affect each other. Meaning, the values that were in one table, so say column 1, when you multiply it and add certain things, how it would turn into the values in column 2. Now, we are going to the brand new lesson of lesson 3. Using expressions to create tables. Now, don't be afraid of this one. We're just doing the same stuff that we did in lesson 1.1 and 1.2. However, we're introducing something totally new to some of you, and it is, we don't want that. Let's undo that and move this. And they are called expressions. Okay, so what is an expression? As I put my pointer here, it's a phrase that uses operations with numbers, variables, or both. So here is an expression, t plus 10. What this means is that instead of saying, for example, Susie went to go buy tickets for her and her friends, and every time she bought a ticket, it would be $2. How much would the tickets cost if she already spent $10 on tickets? And we would try and calculate it that way. And one way that we can express that is if something cost $2 for her tickets and she already bought 10 tickets or $10 worth of tickets, the number of tickets would be the expression. Would be, we could call it M. So $2, let me erase this. So if we wrote an expression on that, it would be 2m plus 10, where $2 times the number of movies plus the $10 she already spent. So this m is the variable that will always change. If she went to go watch 5 movies, for example, 5 movies times $2 would be plus 10. What would that be? If you got the answer as 30, bravo, because 2 times 10 would be 20, plus another 10 would equal 30. All right, so let's get to this, shall we? So just in sum, don't be afraid of what we're about to do next. We're doing the same things that we did in the last few chapters, except this time we're trading in certain numbers inside our number sentence and using letters instead, just like what we have here. T plus 10. Okay, so our goal for today is to create and use a mathematical expression to make a table of values. The mathematical expression is what we're talking about. It's the letter, it's the variable that we're going to use. And it's going to help us make a table of values, which we're all familiar with, hopefully. Okay, and if you are not familiar with it, then we can talk during class. All right, here's our first question. Robin's hiking club charges an annual fee of $10. Remember, every word sentence or word question will always have an intro, a question, and in the middle has information. So we already know that Robin's in a hiking club. Okay, so that's our intro. Her hiking club charges a fee of $10. So no matter what, she's going to pay $10. So what I always love doing is just writing my notes somewhere here. So I know that we're going to have $10. Okay, so we know that she's already paid that. Let's change that. We know that she's paid that $10. Okay, now the club also charges $2 for each hike. If we know that it is $2 per hike, just like that. Sorry, it's kind of at the edge of the screen. You know this is hike. Robin wants to make a table of values to show the new member the cost of hiking with the club. So it's asking us to do this. Make a table of values. The question also states, how can you show the cost of hiking with Robin's club? Let's do that with a table of values. Let's check out what Robin's doing here with Robin's rules. To figure out the total cost for always going on any number of hikes, I wrote the rule in two ways, says Robin. One way uses words, the other way uses expression. All right, so she's saying she solved this by using two ways. The first way she uses words, and the second way she uses expression. The same expressions that we were using in this area right here, like 2t plus 10. So here are the two ways that she expressed it. In words, she multiplied the number of hikes by 2 and add 10 to the product. Now this is very similar to the pattern rules that we were using in 1.2, isn't it? These are the exact same things we were using as patterns or pattern rules in section 1.2 last week. Multiply the number of hikes by $2 and add $10 to the product. Now, product is not like, Nike shoes or a lightsaber. Product means the answer to a multiplication question. The same way that the answer of an addition question is called the sum, the answer to a subtraction question is called the difference. The answer to a multiplication question, like 2 times 2, the product would be 4. She then goes on and says her expression here. Okay, her expression is 2 times h plus 10. Or the same thing is, instead of going 2 times h here, she just puts 2h, which is the same thing, 2 times h, which is the same thing. So 2 times h plus 10, or 2h plus 10, where the variable h represents the number of hikes. Do you see this legend right here? The variable h represents the number of hikes. Let me use a different color. H means the different number of hikes that she has. If we back this up and I asked you, all right, she did 2 different hikes. That means you would take the expression 2h plus 10 is equal to, and you can say if h equals 2, so that's $2, and you multiply this, h, actually let's back up and we'll multiply by h. H, which is 2 plus 10, we would come up with the answer. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 10 is 14. So the answer is 14. If you had some trouble, difficulty following it, I suggest that you rewind it, go back and see step by step how I came up with that answer. If you're still having problems, come and talk to me during class and I'd love to walk it through you. For now, I want you to have a pencil and some scrap paper in front of you, or you can use your math journal, and I want you to solve the next problem on the next page. All right, let's look at letter A. Can we solve this together? Jason says that 2h plus 10 can also be written as 10 plus 2h. Is Jason correct? Can you tell me and explain? So how about you press pause and write down your explanation. He is asking, does 2h plus 10 or 10 plus 2h mean the same thing? Can you explain why they would mean the same thing or why they wouldn't mean the same thing? For letter A, if you told me that they mean the same thing, you are, dun dun dun, you are right. Let's give you a gold star and a green check mark. Ooh, that's a weird looking check mark. Let's turn that into a star somehow. Oh, Mr. Nickner, you're brutalizing a star. Let's just make it into a happy face. A weird looking happy face. Okay, so it's correct because you're multiplying 2 by the number of hikes and you're adding 10. So no matter what, you can see you're multiplying 2 by the number of hikes and adding 10. And over here, you're multiplying 2 by the number of hikes and also adding 10. Now, could Robin have chosen a different letter to represent the number of hikes? Think about it. Does she have to use H? Or can she use a different letter? Can you explain why? Press pause now. and write down your thoughts. So what'd you come up with? Did you come up with H, or X, or D, or M, or K? Well, you can actually use any letter to use as your expression. The only reason why she used H for the number of hikes is because it's easier to remember H as the number of hikes. But really, you can use any letter. But why don't you use a letter that's closest to what we're trying to figure out? In this case, we chose the letter H. Now on to letter C. What is the total cost for 0 to 10 hikes with Robin's Club? Record your answers in a table. How are you going to find out what it costs for 0 to 10 hikes? On the left side, you'll see a table about, partially done. Can you complete that table? Not just by filling in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but can you use the rule that she used before? 2h plus 10. If we plugged in these numbers, can we take a look what would happen? Okay, so if the number's hikes was 0, let's plug in 0 here. 2h times 0 plus 10 should equal 10. Let's see if that's correct. And that is. It is 0. Now, let's go skip all the way down to number 5. Let's try and add this in. All right. So we're going to put 5 as the number of hikes. It should go into the h, which also equals the number of hikes. And know that if we're extending this whole area, so let me erase some of these lines. Let me erase these lines here. Just like that. Okay, just so it's not as distracting. Okay, if we are making a table that's supposed to go all the way down to number 10, we can already solve it using this expression. Now, I want you to fill out a table from 1 and answer it, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's just say we went all the way down to 10. Okay, let's just say, because of the magic of the iPad, we can answer it. Can you answer? Now, at any point, if you had any difficulty with the math, again, I highly suggest that you go back on this recording and play back what you didn't understand. So by watching this, I can now help you with the stuff that you don't understand, instead of reteaching you new things. So, best practice is to go back to any part of this 1.3, try and understand the first part, why Robin did what she did, and then let's go through the examples again if you didn't understand, and try and figure out what went wrong with your understanding. And if you still don't understand by tomorrow, please come and see me, because I would love to help you understand, and we'll go through these questions together. For now, I hope that you did understand. You made it to 1.3. Pat yourself on the back, give yourself a smile in the mirror, and say, dude, you're awesome. Now, without further ado, go have fun. See you tomorrow. Do it on another page. So 2h plus 10 is equal to, and from what we had for the first column, 2 times 0, because that was the number of hikes, plus 10 should cost how much? 2 times 0 is 0 plus 10 equals 10. So if the answer is 10 when it's 0, back to our screen over here, I'm just going to delete all of this. All right, now let's go back to understanding that 2h plus 10 is equal to something. So now let's find out what that something is. So 2, and what was the number of h again? We were going to use the number 5. So 2 times 5 plus 10 is equal to what? 2 times 5 is 10, plus 10 is equal to 20. So it was going to cost $20. Now, we don't even have to go back, but just for the sake of the using the expression 2x plus 10 is equal to what? And if h is the number of hikes, I want you to solve 10 hikes and tell me the answer without using a table right now. All right, hopefully you got your answer. Let's do this again. So 2, okay, and the number of hikes was what? Times 10 plus 10 is equal to, and what do we get? We know that 2 times 10 is 20, plus 10 is equal to 30. So it's going to cost them $30. Well done. Let's go.